administration wants to work with members of both parties to make child care accessible and affordable, to help ensure new parents that they have paid family leave.
Have you seen an evolution, or do you hear an evolution in some conservative thinking about being willing to pay for something like paid family leave?
I don't know about paid family leave. We have adjusted our analysis of offsets for certain spending. When he mentions his infrastructure project, some conservatives ask for the offset, and others view that as an asset for which there need not be an offset. I was also sitting one down from Ben Sass, who's a really funny senator from Nebraska and a very principled conservative. And I would say this about the family leave: it is possible that you agree with someone's objective, but you have a different way of achieving that objective. So you can want paid family leave and do that by either mandating it from the government or just incenting private business to do it themselves. So I kind of took that as we think it's a good idea. We may or may not have differences in terms of how we achieve that idea.
All right, let's talk about the executive order on the so-called travel ban. The president is going to, I understand, withdraw and then issue a new and revised executive order. You thought that it needed to have some clarity. Have you been briefed, and are you satisfied with the new product?
I have not been briefed, but I am so far down the pecking order in the House, I don't expect to be briefed. I heard it was coming today, and then I heard maybe it's going to come later. I think he's doing exactly what he needs to do, which is have a different analysis depending on the status of the group involved. If you're an American that went to visit the Vatican and you just want to come back home, you're entitled to your full panoply of constitutional rights. But if you're in Yemen and you've never visited the United States and you just want to meet Tim Scott, you don't have any constitutional rights. So we can apply different scrutinies based on the status or class of the person who wants to come to the United States.
And before I let you go, there was some question earlier this week whether one of the House members, Darrell Issa, was calling for a special prosecutor or independent review of the alleged Russian ties with the Trump campaign during this last year. You're on the Intel Committee. Do you think that those are now quelled and there's no need for that?
Well, I hope so. I mean, Devin Nunes has been talking about Russia for a year now. And Dana, there is no special prosecutor. I hate to break the hearts of my Republican and Democrat colleagues. There's no independent counsel. There's a special counsel, and Jeff Sessions would appoint that special counsel, but only if the department has a conflict and every United States attorney in the country has a conflict. No one has offered any evidence of any of that. So all the discussion about special prosecutor or special counsel, we don't even have the fact pattern yet. We don't even know that it's criminal in nature. So that's just members of Congress talking about show hearings. I'm interested in a real investigation, and that probably needs to be done by the FBI.
Actually, more and more of them applauded. And at key moments, a number of them gave him a standing ovation. And, of course, when he honored the fallen SEAL and his widow, everybody, virtually everybody, I think maybe 2 or 3 Democrats didn't stand. Everybody else did. And interestingly, as you pointed out earlier, infrastructure was a big winner. There are a lot of Democrats from districts that need bridges, need highways, need other kinds of infrastructure. And I would not be at all surprised to see President Trump get up to 1/3 of the Democratic caucus voting for an infrastructure bill if they work it right.
All right. We'll see. I also note that you talk about how you believe you watched him sort of learn and grow in office. And I do think he went a long way last night with Republicans as well, who feel that, you know, things didn't get off on the most solid of footing in the first month. And they were a bit reassured last night, were they not?
Oh, I think so. This is the best speech that President Trump has given, either as a candidate or as president. It was clear, it was powerful, it was disciplined. He stuck to the teleprompter. He looked and felt like a president, like a national leader. And I think that he has more prestige today, greater ability to negotiate with Congress today than he did yesterday morning.
I know you speak with him. What do you think has changed? You know, when you say he's learned and grown in the office, what do you mean?
Well, I try to tell everybody who asks about this, he is one of the 3 or 4 smartest people ever to be president. And people confuse the fact that he had a lot to learn because he hadn't been in politics before, with the speed with which he's learning. He, I think, has learned a great deal about how to communicate with the country. He's learned a lot about bringing us together. I was very pleased that he opened the entire speech talking about Black History Month, talking about civil rights, condemning anti-Semitism, condemning the hate crimes in Kansas City. Now, that was the opening of a national leader who cared about the country and who was sending some pretty strong signals about what was not acceptable in America. And I think that in that sense, with every passing week, he becomes more aware of the country, more aware of the responsibility he has as president, and he gets a little bit better at it every week. And I think a year from now, we're going to see really a very remarkable president.
For as the Bible teaches us, there is no greater act of love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. Ryan laid down his life for his friends, for his country, and for our freedom, and we will never forget Ryan. To those allies who wonder what kind of a friend America will be, look no further than the heroes who wear our uniform. Our foreign policy calls for a direct, robust, and meaningful engagement with the world. It is American leadership based on vital security interests that we share with our allies all across the globe. We strongly support NATO, an alliance forged through the bonds of 2 world wars that dethroned fascism and the Cold War and defeated communism. But our partners must meet their financial obligations. And now, based on our very strong and frank discussions, they are beginning to do just that. In fact, I can tell you the money is pouring in. Very nice. Very nice. We expect our partners, whether in NATO, the Middle East, or in the Pacific, to take a direct and meaningful role in both strategic and military operations and pay their fair share of the cost, have to do that. We will respect historic institutions, but we will respect the foreign rights of all nations, and they have to respect our rights as a nation also. Free nations are the best vehicle for expressing the will of the people, and America respects the right of all nations to chart their own path. My job is not to represent the world. My job is to represent the United States of America. But we know that America is better off when there is less conflict, not more. We must learn from the mistakes of the past. We have seen the war and the destruction that have ravaged and raged throughout the world, all across the world. The only long-term solution for these humanitarian disasters, in many cases, is to create the conditions where displaced persons can safely return home and begin the long, long process of rebuilding. America is willing to find new friends and to forge new partnerships where shared interests align. We want harmony and stability, not war and conflict. We want peace wherever peace can be found. America is friends today with former enemies. Some of our closest allies decades ago fought on the opposite side of these terrible, terrible wars. This history should give us all faith in the possibilities for a better world. Hopefully, the 250th year for America will see a world that is more peaceful, more just, and more free. On our 100th anniversary in 1876, citizens from across our nation came to Philadelphia to celebrate America's centennial. At that celebration, the country's builders and artists and inventors showed off their wonderful creations. Alexander Graham Bell displayed his telephone for the first time. Remington unveiled the first typewriter. An early attempt was made at electric light. Thomas Edison showed an automatic telegraph and an electric pen. Imagine the wonders our country could know in America's 250th year. Think of the marvels we can achieve if we simply set free the dreams of our people. Cures to the illnesses that have always plagued us are not too much to hope. American footprints on distant worlds are not too big a dream. Millions lifted from welfare to work is not too much to expect. And streets where mothers are safe from fear, schools where children learn in peace, and jobs where Americans prosper and grow are not too much to ask. When we have all of this, we will have made America greater than ever before. For all Americans, this is our vision. This is our mission. But we can only get there together. We are one people with one destiny. We all bleed the same blood. We all salute the same great American flag. And we all are made by the same God. When we fulfill this vision, when we celebrate our 250 years of glorious freedom, we will look back on tonight as when this new chapter of American greatness began. The time for small thinking is over. The time for trivial fights is behind us. We just need the courage to share the dreams that fill our hearts, the bravery to express the hopes that stir our souls, and the confidence to turn those hopes and those dreams into action. From now on, America will be empowered by our aspirations, not burdened by our fears, inspired by the future, not bound by failures of the past, and guided by a vision, not blinded by our doubts. I am asking all citizens to embrace this renewal of the American spirit. I am asking all members of Congress to join me in dreaming big and bold and daring things for our country. I am asking everyone watching tonight to seize this moment, believe in yourselves, believe in your future, and believe once more in America. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless the United States.